What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're actually pretty excited because we're going to be talking about the Fallen of Albaz structure deck. It's not fully leaked yet, but I know that the graphic came out for it, and we got some introductory leaks, so I'm really excited about it. Some of the cover cards look cool. I think they're both new fusion monsters, and as far as I'm aware, we don't have effects for them yet, so there's obviously a lot of stuff to look forward to. However, we don't even know if we're going to get this structure deck in the TCG. They've given us what feels like a lot less structure decks lately. We've missed the Utopia one so far, as well as the Agent one. Both of those are basically MIA. Will they get thrown into a set like the Dragunity structure deck, or will we get it released like the Cyberstrike structure deck? A lot of questions. We don't really know the answers yet, but I thought it'd be cool to at least take a look at the stuff that was announced so far. I've always thought the Fallen of Albaz and the Dogmatica theme is one of the coolest, like, lore-based archetypes that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has put out in a long time, and these new cards are definitely no exception. So, before that starts, though, I just want to jump into the video. I do just want to announce the winner of our contest from the Megatin case opening. This is Kingsley Chen. Now, for the record, we opened a Mega Pack live during our live stream, and all the contents of it, which included a Secret Rare Tri-Brigade Fractal, we'll be giving away to a winner. I chose someone at random. There were 16 total comments that were eligible, and Kingsley was the one that was selected. So Kingsley, I will go ahead and comment on your post and let you know how you can get in touch with me. I have it all packaged up and ready to go. I'll just need to know where to mail it, so good luck with that. If for any reason things don't work out or the prize can't be claimed, we will draw another winner, but I just wanted to get that out there first. Now, back to the structure deck. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff to be potentially excited about, because not only does the Albaz structure deck have new cards for Fallen of Albaz, as you would expect, they do give support for other existing archetypes as well, and it should be interesting to see how those integrate. So let's jump into the video. If you guys do enjoy this deck and this type of content, please hit the like button and subscribe. Click the bell icon if you want. We've got a new live stream coming pretty soon with another live opening, and we've been trying to do them somewhat frequently, so it's good to stay up to date with that if it's something you're interested in. Now, Fallen of Albaz, obviously you guys are familiar with. It's a really cool card. When it came out in Rise of the Duelists, which was like a year and a half ago at this point, which is crazy, because it's like 2020 was just an anomaly of a year. This card was hyped, and then people were like, it's not that good, and then people were like, wait, they're going to continue making support for it, it's likely going to get better. Now, I'm a huge fan of the card as a whole. First of all, the artwork is amazing. It has really, like, Alistair vibes from, like, the Invoke series, but also you can clearly see where it ties into the Dogmatica lore, and that's probably a topic for another video. But Fallen of Albaz has gotten many price spikes. It's finally reprinted in the Megatin, so it's accessible to everyone, but it does look like it'll be reprinted in the structure deck as well. Probably expected. Not really much of a surprise, but for those of you unfamiliar with the card, it's essentially a super poly that it doesn't have spell speed for. So you summon it, you can fusion summon using monsters from your opponent's field, and Fallen of Albaz himself has a bunch of different fusion monsters that work to sort of, you know, go with that. Albion the Branded Dragon needs Fallen of Albaz and a light monster, so if your opponent has a light monster, you can just make it using that. And each of his fusion materials do different things. So Albion, for example, if it's in the graveyard because it was sent there during that turn, you get a branded Speller Trap from the deck. Titaniclad, which many of you may know because it's been super prevalent in Dogmatica, if it's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can either search a Fallen of Albaz or a Dogmatica monster, and this one just needs a monster with 2,500 or more attack. So ultimately, there's some of these that aren't even going to be mentioned in this video, but there's a lot of fusions for Albaz and new ones to come that makes it almost like a pseudo Shadal type archetype where there's all these different attribute fusions, and Super Poly itself is a really good card within the deck. Now, a lot of people think Albaz pairs well with Despia. I think that's definitely a fair thing. I think Despia as a whole is a really fun and exciting deck that does get a lot of use out of it simply because some of the branded spell and traps directly support them, like Branded Opening. But Fallen of Albaz as a whole has a lot of different ways you can kind of take that deck and incorporate it as part of an engine. So, sort of just setting the table there, let's jump into the actual new cards first, and we'll talk about how they might have some practicality. So Tri-Brigade Mercurier is a really cool bird beast machine thing. I don't really know. It's a winged beast, level 4 dark, which is a good typing. When your opponent activates a monster effect and you control a fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz as material, quick effect. You can send this card from your hand or field to the grave, negate that effect. If this card becomes banished, you can add one Fallen of Albaz or one card that lists that monster in its text from your deck to your hand, except this card itself. So, first of all, this is insane. If you have any of the Fallen of Albaz fusion monsters out, it basically becomes a hand trap monster negation for anywhere. You can counter things like Nibiru, you can counter things like well, pretty much anything that's activating monster effects. I was going to say Max C, but then I'm like, wait, that's an OCG card. I'm sure it'll be good there. But things like Ash Blossom, so on and so forth. But it'll also work to counter whatever board you might be trying to play through. Generally speaking, you want to go first, I think, with this deck. But it also puts you in an interesting predicament because in order to maximize Albaz, you want to use your opponent's monsters, and there's going to be different ways to sort of deal with the way those resources work. What's even better, though, than just the fact that this is a hand negation is the fact that it can search cards like Nadir's Servant. So if you banish this card in any way, like if you fusion summon with it, or you banish it with the Tri-Brigade monsters or something, you can search Nadir's Servant, you can search Fallen of Albaz himself, you can search any of these new cards that list Fallen of Albaz. There's at least like 12 to 15 cards in the game currently that mention him specifically, so the pool that this can search is pretty good, and it definitely seems like a card that may have use in a few different ways, especially because, like I said, Nadir's Servant is a really powerful card, and being able to search that is really, really useful. The next one is Springen's Kit, so it's obviously a Springen's card, right? But it's Tri-Brigade Kit, and these lores are all kind of connected, as you know. If you have a fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz as material on the field or in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one of your branded spells or traps that is banished or in your deck or graveyard to your hand, then place one card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. So this does not search into your servant, but it does get any of your branded spells and traps, so it can get things like Branded Opening, Branded in White, Judgment of the Branded, so there's a lot of decent options. It can also search the Despia field spell for whatever that's worth. And a fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz in the field or grave means it's an extender that can work if you just resolve like under your servant or you mill something with Dogmatic Punishment, so on and so forth. I think it's a really good card. I think it's neat to see it actually be a dark, because I think most of the Springens were Earth, if I'm correct, or some might have been Fire. I'm not sure. I don't know too much about that archetype because it's not all that great. But overall, the card itself is really strong in terms of what it could do for the deck, and the fact that things like, you know, Allure of Darkness are going to work with both of these cards. Not to mention, if you use Allure with this, you then get to search a card on top of that because it's banished, so it basically nullifies the cost. Both of these are really, really good, and I'm excited to see where they kind of fit in. Next one is Unlikely Sword Soul Ally. So Sword Soul, if anyone's unfamiliar, is the new archetype that comes out in Dawn of Majesty, and is definitely poised to be a meta contender, but I don't know a ton about it yet, other than the fact that it's been topping a bit in the OCG. It's one I plan to familiarize myself with a bit more once I can actually playtest with the cards. But this one is a level 4 light spellcaster tuner. When a monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, negate that attack. Then, if you control a fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz as material, you can destroy the attacking monster. So, it doesn't matter whose monster attacks. For whatever reason, if your monster attacks, you can special it and then negate the attack. I guess maybe you could use this with, like, double or nothing. I don't know. That's a cheesy combo, though. If a monster becomes banished face up, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, special summon one light spellcaster monster whose attack equals its own defense from your hand or graveyard. Now, I don't know what that card pool includes, but I'm sure it works with some of the Sword Souls specifically. There may be other light spellcasters whose attack equal their own defense that I'm not even thinking of, so, you know, maybe worth looking into that card pool a little bit. I can't comment too much on this card's usefulness outside of the Albaz deck, only because I don't know too much about the archetype yet, but I do know that it's neat enough. I don't think it's on the level of those other two cards. It's especially not on the level of the Tri-Brigade one for sure, but it might be neat, and it could be more beneficial for Sword Soul than the actual Albaz deck itself. And the last one we have right now is Paradise Branded. This is essentially Magical Meltdown, although the artwork is absolutely amazing. The activation of your cards and effects that include an effect that fusion summons a fusion monster cannot be negated. Also, your opponent's cards and effects cannot activate when a monster is fusion summoned this way. If you fusion summon a fusion monster, you can add one Fallen of Albaz or one monster that lists that card in its text from your deck to your hand. So, first one that obviously comes to mind here is you can search Mercurier, which is a really cool option to have access to, and you can kind of see where a lot of these pull together. Now, Albaz himself is searchable, but most cards can get access to him pretty easily, which is useful because he is kind of the centerpiece of your strategy. But I think Paradise Branded as a whole is neat. It does sort of feel like Magical Meltdown Light. Being searchable, though, is neat enough in the sense that you might play one just to ensure that all of your plays go off without a hitch, and especially with some of the Despia fusion monsters, this could end up being a really useful tool to have access to. That's overall basically going to do it for the video, talking about the new cards we know so far. I'm hugely into this archetype and will continue to cover it as more stuff comes out, but I just wanted to sort of talk about it and at least get the conversation going. Do you guys think that Albaz might be able to work as its own deck here? Do you think that it might be more such that it's still better as an engine? Do you think any of the specific support decks like Tri-Brigade or Sword Soul are better as a result of the cards in here? So on and so forth. Please like the video if you enjoyed it and leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think. And again, congratulations to the giveaway winner. I'll be getting in touch with you to let you know how we can go about getting you your prizes. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.